Hello there, and I'm now returning to this analysis of my most recent channeled video, the Rainbow Portal Silver Ray and the Two Worlds Split Winter Solstice 2017. So the next part of this, the next line is polarization and realization. These are the words within your language that best explain the energetic for December 2017. So that's what this transmission is really focusing on, is the month of December. As I said in the last section, I do feel that this energy has been occurring prior to December and carries on after December. But it just seems as though there is some kind of focus specifically on this month. And the energetic for this month, the energetic for December 2017 is polarization and realization. So we're looking at a polarized humanity. We're looking at dualistic polarization. So we're looking at two groups, Group A and Group B, but these are opposing groups, like hot and cold, like night and day, like the sun and the moon. They're opposing groups. This is evident. This polarization is physically evident. And realization is a coming to an awareness or an understanding, a realization, not necessarily an understanding, but a realizing of something. We're talking about the shadow and that which has been hidden coming to light, being very focused in this month. We begin to explain the polarization, or indeed extreme polarization. So the nine make a big thing of saying it's extreme. As in it hasn't been known before, or the polarization is so extreme that it's so obvious, it's so evident, and it's so clear. For many years upon your planet, the knowledge of the splitting of the worlds has been known. The tribes, the indigenous families, and those who follow the stars have not only waited for this time period, but have actively ushered it in, if you will, with the energetic of spiritual spell, shamanic magic, and ritual and ceremony of the soul. So we begin to explain the polarization, or indeed extreme polarization. For many years upon your planet, the knowledge of the splitting of the worlds has been known. So this particular event or metaphor or energy that the nine are calling the splitting of the worlds, it's been known about, it's been prophesied for many years. So they don't say how many, but for a long time. And then they're talking about the tribes. So this is going back to the beginning of history, the beginning of our known history, potentially prior to the beginning of our known history. So we're going back many, many, many thousands of years here. The tribes. The indigenous families, so people who are native to this world, indigenous families. I mean, I would imagine that we are looking at the Hopi and the North American Indian families, and the shamans and the Mayans. We're looking at those people, that area of humanity. And those who follow the stars. So we could be talking about astrologers, we could be talking about people who are looking at the signs of the heavens, looking at the signs of the stars, decoding them and understanding them. The original peoples. So this is something, the splitting of the worlds in this time period that we're in has been known about for a long, long, long time. And they haven't just waited for this time period. So they've waited because they've known about it, and they've known how important this time period is. They've known how significant this time period is. They've not only waited for it, they have actively ushered it in. So there's been magical work going on for a long, long, long time, many, many, many years, specifically ushering this time in with the energetic of spiritual spell, shamanic magic, ritual and ceremony of the soul. So we're looking at magic on a spiritual soul level. So we're looking at individuals, for example, projecting their knowledge and their awareness actively and consciously down their incarnational line. So they are projecting knowledge consciously into their next incarnation. So we're looking at what the 9 call death to birth conscious transfer. So staying aware, and then when you're incarnated into the next incarnation, the awareness is there. But we're also looking at passing information down the genetic line as well. So actively being aware magically of a code and passing that to the offspring, and that may be done through spiritual, psychic, conscious awareness, conscious projecting of that knowledge, or it may also have been done by telling the offspring and bringing them into the knowledge. So one example would be passing stories down from one family down through the line for many, many years, so that the stories of this time period are kept aware after generation after generation and after generation. So it's been working on a physical level and a soul level. The honouring of the natural cycles from these guardians of the earth has created a golden stream of consistent connection to the overall matrix that has allowed a path and a portal to be continually opened, despite dark magic coming in from the other polarity individuals and the lightning fields of dark magic they wield. So this is a deep one, isn't it? The honouring of the natural cycles from these guardians of the earth. So these guardians, these individuals, these people in tribal families and in the Hopi and the shamans and these people that have had this awareness, they have honoured the natural cycles. And their honouring of the natural cycles of this planet, so the connection with the earth and the connection with the stars and the conscious awareness of those cycles and the honouring, so working with ritual and magic in alignment and in harmony with these cycles, what this has done, this consistent, continuous honouring of the earth and living as a guardian of this planet, what it's done has created a golden stream of consciousness, a golden stream of consistent connection, rather, to the overall matrix. So what they have done by honouring these natural cycles is opened up like a code, a golden thread, connecting to the overall matrix. And what it's actually done is kept a pathway or a portal continually open. So that would suggest if they stopped honouring the natural cycles, then this connection, this portal, this path would close down. But because of their continued work, but their work that they did spiritually would have been obviously for their own lives and their own families, but ultimately the knowing of the importance and the significance of this time period that we are in right now, this month, being a major anchor, a major point within this time period, their knowledge of this coming time is one of the most important and significant goals that has kept them honouring these natural cycles. So we need to be very, very, very grateful to our forefathers, either our family ancestral lines, so our ancestors, or our previous incarnations, either as ourself or as other people. The 9 say it's all the same. So we are eternally grateful to that which has come before, whether it's us now or our previous incarnations or our ancestors. And then Taking that into more of a physical direction, we would be looking at the ancient tribes and the ancient peoples and the indigenous families and sending masses of grateful gratitude and thanks and honoring to those families who've paved the way for this time period, who've kept these portals open. So that's a big, big thing here as well, to be very, very aware of the work that's been done by so many. Despite dark magic coming in from other polarity individuals, well, yes, we who are aware are fully aware of the other polarity and the dark magic that's also been going on. So we've had these light workers, these original starseeds, these indigenous families honoring the natural cycles and creating this golden thread into the matrix, this connection, keeping these portals open for this time period. But there's also been an opposing agenda, this darker group, service to self groups, that have also used magic, dark magic, to do the opposite thing. And the lightning fields of dark magic they wield. Not quite sure what that means. The only thing that I'm kind of shown here is a different geometric formation, a different geometric pattern. So we are looking at multidimensional energy that is created within a sixth dimensional field, and then it's manifested within the third dimension. So the geometry from these tribal peoples is this golden thread that's a connection, a portal into the matrix, creating this continually available path. The geometry that I can see through the words the nine are giving me here, lightning fields, is a different geometry. It seems to be, I mean, lightning is also somewhat golden, I guess, but it's jagged and it's piercing. So we're looking at a golden thread of connection and a lightning flash, which is more of a sort of a disruptive energy. So we've got this connective unity through the golden thread. This is the fifth dimensional imagery that the nine are giving us, that's coming from the sixth dimensional geometric field. The fifth dimensional imagery blended with sixth dimensional imagery is this golden thread of unity, and this lightning energy, this lightning field of disruption. So if you look at a fork of lightning, it looks like it's cutting through something, whereas a thread is joining something. So the thread is like, you know, a piece of cotton joining things together, and lightning is like breaking it up. So that's the energetic that we're looking at, and that these are the metaphors that the nine use. And again, as I said in the last section, when you're listening to the channeling, even if you have the PDF, and I will get that done and you can download this and read it, even then you might miss the analysis. But as I said in the last section, this is my interpretation, and I know my interpretation of the nine's words is pretty good because our energies match. But always your interpretation of any kind of higher dimensional material, any kind of expansive material, is always the interpretation to look for. So if you see anything in this interpretation that I haven't seen, or if you disagree and you feel that this means something else, please do write it in the comment section so that we can all read that. Continued children of the sun, guardians of the earth, and moon goddess dancers have kept the golden streams, paths, and portals open. These individuals we speak of are the original starseeds, the master magicians, the children of the feather, the bird tribes, and those who hold the energy of the phoenix. So again, in one paragraph, we've got so much here, so many layers, so much information that is metaphoric and veiled, and as I said, it's always good for you to analyze, because this particular metaphoric explanation, because it's in symbol form and it comes through the right hemisphere of the brain, it's activating. My interpretation is somewhat activating also, but my interpretation is more like a communication between you and me. It's more like a discussion. It's more like an analysis. But the actual original words that are the translation of the original energy is the activation, because you are using the language of light here, which is a DNA language. It's a language that speaks directly to the soul aspect, the DNA aspect. So it activates codes within the DNA fields within the brain. Continued children of the sun. So this is going to mean many different things to many different people, but I would interpret this as the children who live under the sun. So this could be everyone on planet Earth, but it could also mean children and adults, obviously, who are aware of the sun. And we could be looking at the actual sun, as in the solar body. We could also be looking at the inner sun, the central sun. So it could mean individuals who follow the conscious, who make the spiritual path conscious. It could also, I mean, it's spelt here as the interpretation came through sun as in S-U-N, but it could also mean the son, as in the son of the father. If you want to go into more biblical imagery, there's a lot of layers in all the metaphors the nine use. Guardians of the earth, well, we know that these are individuals who live in harmony with the earth, which would have been these tribal indigenous peoples like the Hopi and the Mayans and the shamans, but also guardians of the earth are now the aware ones, the starseeds. These tribal peoples have incarnated. Many have stayed within their family lines and their ancestral lines, but others have crossed over. I know that I am one of those individuals myself. I have pre-incarnate memory of living within an indigenous society, and I've actually done work with many clients, and I've seen that they have indigenous links as well within their pre-incarnate line. So many starseeds living in Western society and in the modern world are reincarnated from these indigenous tribes. So this is a something that is very, very common throughout the starseed community. And moon goddess dancers. Well, when this came through, I don't really know what this is, other than all I can say is that there are some. So when we're looking at sun, we're looking at the conscious self. When we're looking at moon, we're looking at the subconscious self. So on a more metaphoric level, we're looking at individuals who are aware of the subconscious aspect of themselves, and they are dancers and goddesses because they embrace the feminine energy, and they're dancers because they allow the energy to flow. So I would use that as, the most likely translation, moon goddess dancers, as a metaphor. But I would also say that when I brought this through, I could actually see these individuals dancing under the moon. So I would say that these are also actual, literal people that are embracing the feminine, and may well be females, women, dancing in the moon, knowing what they're doing. I mean, we could look at the sort of Wiccan traditions, the pagan traditions where this occurs. So this is not just a metaphor for the inner journey, but actually moon goddess dancers have actually also assisted. So you've had these tribal peoples, these indigenous peoples, but you've had this pagan community as well for many, many years that have also kept these golden streams, paths and portals open. So their work with the moon and their gathering together and their covens and rituals, and this could be outside of the pagan path. It may be within other paths as well, in other countries and in other cultures. All of this has kept the golden streams, paths and portals open. And I do see that this is huge. You know, there are many, the Sufi and the whirling dervishes, and any pathway that includes dance and movement, and that occurs within working with the moon cycles. So moon rituals, children of the sun, moon goddess dancers, guardians of the earth. So this is huge. This is explaining loads and loads and loads of people, huge amounts of people for so long have kept these paths and streams open, all for this time period now. These individuals we speak of are the original starseeds. So this would suggest these were the first starseeds, the first individuals that came to this planet from other star systems, or were seeded by beings from other star systems, or both of those. The master magicians. Somebody did ask me on one of my videos I did earlier, a couple of months ago, who are the master magicians? And these are individuals who have become aware of their own link to the elements, their own ability to manifest, their own ability to work with magic, and they've mastered that path. So that's who these people are, masters in their field being manifestation and magic. So that's who the master magicians are. The children of the feather. So I asked the 9. So what they're saying to me is, there was a extraterrestrial race that were genetically somewhat, I won't say similar, but genetically aligned with birds, not necessarily birds, but beings who had feathers, or how we would interpret as birds. These extraterrestrials gave a gene or a code to humanity in the very original seeding of humanity. So the original seeding of humanity was coming together of many different extraterrestrial races or extraterrestrial codes, depending on which level you're looking at. And a code was added that was from this particular race. When I say extraterrestrials, though, it's not just that they were humanoid beings that looked like giant birds that had feathers. It's actually they were group souls. They were group souls, and when they created their energetic from a group soul into an incarnated being, there was DNA within that code that holds something that the birds have, that we would know as birds, is the best way I can explain this. So this code was given to humanity, and there is a race, there are many in humanity now who've activated that code. This means every single human being has the original code of the feather of this group soul, this extraterrestrial race, but only some of humanity have activated it. But the children of the feather would be the individuals that activated that code, that came from this extraterrestrial group, that have this code that we would interpret as being like a bird. That's the nearest I can sort of say. The bird tribes. So that again is a whole other way of explaining who these individuals are. I do have a video on the bird tribes, so if you want to know more about who the bird tribes are, rather than me saying here, go and watch that video, because that goes into more depth about who the bird tribes are. And those who hold the energy of the phoenix. So we've got lots of bird analogies here, lots of bird, feather type of metaphor. Obviously, feather is flight, feather is movement, feather is angel, feather is transcendence, feather is, I mean, I actually have another video also about the symbolism of the feather. So I would, you know, also say if you want to know more about what that means, then go and watch that. But the phoenix specifically is metaphoric for change and transformation. And moving, you know, you see the phoenix going down into the ashes and then rising again. So those who hold the energy of the phoenix are individuals who are going through transformation in an aware sense. So these individuals are fully aware of their codes and how they are changing. So you've got a starseed community that are aware in many different ways. Some of the starseed community are aware of the fact that they're starseeds and who they are, but they might not necessarily be aware of exactly what the change is that they're going through. An individual who has the energy of the phoenix is aware of the leaving behind of the old and the creation of the new. They're aware of what's happening. They're aware of the coming into the light body and moving away from or changing or integrating the physical body. So that would be my interpretation of those who hold the energy of the phoenix. These magical groups have grown and grown, and now the energetic stands in such abundance and such strength that reality-shifting magic is now in place. So these magical groups, and we're talking about these children of the sun, the guardians of the earth, the master magicians, the bird tribes, have grown and grown. And more individuals are aware of their memories, of who they are, aware of their connection. More and more individuals have activated the code of this bird, this feather energy. More and more individuals have become aware of the transformation that they're going through. And because of that growth, the energetic stands in such abundance and such strength. So abundance is, you know, lots of this, huge amount of this energy, and strength because of that cohesive unity that energy is creating. Reality shifting magic is now in place. So what's reality shifting magic? So we have magic that shifts our own reality. This is manifestation and the ability to influence and change and create the reality that we live in. But reality as a concept in itself, shifting magic. So reality itself, not just our reality. And I know that our reality is reality and we are the only individual here, and I'm aware of all that. But what I'm saying here is reality itself, we as a collective have the ability to shift reality. So this is another way of saying we can jump timelines, or that we're creating our future, that Earth, that these starseeds are steering the ship of Earth, if you like. But it's important to go with the words the energy the nine gave for this transmission, reality shifting magic. So that's really important. And that's really what all this is about. The reason why this event or this reveal or this situation is occurring now in December 2017 is because of the work that all these aware individuals have done for thousands of years. Every single spiritually aware individual, magically aware individual or group that has worked with harmonious living, conscious magic, because of all those people, reality shifting magic is available. And that's why this December issue is coming about. So I'll leave that second section here. And I will just put a little mark to say that's where I ended. And I will be back and continue through with this, because I do think, as I said, this transmission is specifically important for this time period, for this month. And so I will be back with more analysis. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you again soon. Bye. We are now at a time in our planetary evolution known as ascension. Those individuals we can call starseeds are currently in their millions and are collectively going through this awakening process. In this book, the 9 bring forward memory triggers designed to act as a catalyst into the awakening process. They present a model of working with the individualized matrix field, known also as the Merkaba, through matrix architecture, Merkaba magic, and the golden triad of ascension, presenting an in-depth analysis and explanation of the twin flame consciousness and how this relates to the ascension, as well as providing triggers to the collective memory experience known as Atlantis. This transmission is designed to trigger your multidimensional memory as you begin the construction of the Merkaba matrix and embrace the inner archetype of the architect. The triggers contained within this material are there to assist you in accessing the codes for the new formation of the original crystalline DNA matrix. I, Magenta Pixie, am so happy to present this transmission to you from the White-Winged Collective Consciousness of 9, Divine Architecture and the Starseed template.